At the San Diego Botanic Garden, science is behind everything you see.
This is really the best spot in the garden to understand the difference between the old world succulents and the new world cacti.
Ari Novi is Executive Director and CEO of the San Diego Botanic Garden. At heart, Ari is an educator.
You know, planting them with the aloes and the euphorbias, it really has a beautiful effect.
We visited one of my favorite spots, the intersection of the Old World and the New World succulent gardens. These two collections demonstrate the fascinating similarities in the way plants evolve, even though they live a world apart.
What does that mean, Old World, New World?
It's really just a sort of an old Eurocentric kind of an idea, that calls the old world, Europe and the continents connected to or close to Europe, so Asia and Africa and Europe, and then the new world is really North, Central, and South America.
And why is it important to show the plants in comparison to each other?
Some really interesting things have happened in the evolution of plants, and in particular, plants tend to evolve similarly in similar climates and environments. And the desert or arid adapted plants are just perfect because even if you're a plant that evolved in the southwestern US deserts versus another plant that evolved in the Gobi Desert of Asia, you look very similar even though you come from a completely different lineage.
This is the concept of convergent evolution, how very different, unrelated plants adapt in similar ways under very similar environmental conditions.
A question I get all the time is, what's the difference between an aloe and an agave?
The agaves are New World and the aloes are Old World. And especially when they're not flowering, they look very, very similar. They have very similar shapes. And that's that convergent evolution. They're both evolving in deserts in their respective continents, and then they look similar even though they're not related at all.
And once they flower, the differences become even clearer.
The flowers on an agave are a typically much larger spiked group of flowers, and they're typically yellow or white, whereas the aloes have smaller flowers, and they often come in different colors. There's a lot of reds in there.
I always think of them as being more tubular shaped.
Tubular is exactly the right word.
Many of these plants are endangered in their native habitats. They grow here in part to preserve and conserve them, and in part for us to learn about them, while we appreciate their beauty and their value. More of the garden's conservation work happens behind the scenes, in the nursery and the labs. All of the information about every plant gets entered into the garden's sophisticated plant database.